I'm going to be trying my hand at calling balls and strikes in one of the most hallowed ballparks in the land, Fenway Park. But I'll be getting a little help from technology. We see how a system once used for tracking missiles will soon be giving umpires a second look. That's a definite strike. We discover how a quiet eye helps even a novice shoot hoops. And how a Canadian Olympic team is getting a new view of their game. Whoa! I learn how to balance my brain. I'm a cloud. And become a tiger on the miniature golf tour. And I hold my breath for longer than I thought was possible, although not as long as a champion. I'm Alan Alda. Join me and the scientists who are helping athletes and the rest of us keep our eyes on the ball.
Brought to you by
Agilent Technologies. A's, C's, G's, and T's. Hidden in all this genetic code is the genetic cause of disease. With technologies from Agilent, scientists can now start turning code into cures.
This program is also made possible by contributions to your PBS station from viewers like you. Thank you.
At whatever level this is I play, I really love playing tennis. For all the reasons that most people enjoy playing sports. The exercise, the competition, the rush that comes from pulling off a difficult play. But until now, the world of sports beyond tennis hasn't interested me much. And then we became intrigued by all the science and technology that's now being focused on sports, and how that's not only improving performances, it's also offering a new window into how our bodies and brains work together. And as a result, I've been in some places I never expected to be. A basketball court, a golf links, a hockey rink, even behind the plate at a Major League Baseball park. And you know what? It's been fascinating. Ready? Oh, yeah.
For instance, there's the question that has long intrigued the University of Calgary's Joan Vickers.
Can you get, like, CNN on this?
Joan wondered where athletes look when they're playing their sport. So she devised a way to find out.
Okay.
So now, Alan, would you look at point 1?
That black spot on the screen is where my gaze is resting.
Point 4, point 5.
The pupil of my eye is being tracked as it scans the target with the aid of the cameras and mirrors mounted on my head.
And 9. Excellent.
Okay, here I go.
Now, my experience with putting is limited to the miniature golf courses I play with my grandkids, which makes me a perfect subject for Joan Vickers because she wants to know if there's a difference in where a rank amateur like me looks when I'm putting as compared to someone who sinks putts for a living.
Notice how your gaze actually goes with the ball. 95% of beginning golfers do that.
David Lindsay is a golfer who doesn't hit putts for a living, but plays a pretty good amateur game. And he's been working with Joan for several years now. David has been taught by Joan to use his eyes the way she's discovered the experts do. To look steadily at the target for a second or two, then look back at the ball and let his gaze rest there, before and even after the stroke.
Your gaze is so steady before you hit, and it's as steady after you've made contact. I want to see if there's a jump at the moment of impact. Right. If your eye flicks unconsciously. It's steady. It didn't jump at all.
Steady.
When I'm doing it well, there's no question in my mind my putting improves dramatically.
Right,
and when my putting's starting to go out the window type of thing, it's usually because my eye movements now are starting to become erratic and I'm not following the pattern that I've established.
So let's see if any of this helps me. For starters, I'm just going to try one steady look at the target before bringing my gaze back to the ball.
It's really amazing. It really works, and I only tried to do one thing, although I was aware that there were two other things I wanted to do.
Actually, you changed a phenomenal number of things.
Oh, I did?
It's amazing, actually.
By changing how I looked at the target, one steady stare, I'd stopped my gaze from jumping around. That obviously helped. But I'm still not holding quietly on the ball as I hit it.
You're still really
Jumping a little.
Actually, you see the club's coming through there, the ball's coming through there, and your eye wants to go with it.
Right.
It does. It just takes off.
Right.
But you have to resist that.
Okay.
Because you want that really nice, solid impact.
Right.
This time, I'm going to concentrate on looking at the ball with what Joan calls a quiet eye, before and after hitting it. On my previous tries, I'd never made more than 3 putts out of 6 attempts. This time,
4 under pressure.
Did you stop thinking about the mechanics of the club?
I don't know if I was ever aware of the mechanics of the club. Like what? What would be an example of that?
Well, so many golfers are overwhelmed with the mechanics of their stance.
Oh, no, you see,
and where the club is
I wouldn't think about that
moving
because nobody ever told me how to do it.
There you go. You're a free man.
Yeah.
That's the other comment that we get, is that by stressing the focus, all of a sudden then you're not completely preoccupied with the
Yes,
mechanics
I can see that.
of
Yeah.
the stroke. And that gives people more strategies and more things that they
Right.
can actually use in order to play better.
If I do anything, I think about the cup sucking the ball in. So, I have bizarre ways of
Marvelous.
getting the ball in there.
That's excellent.
Joan Vickers believes her quiet eye concept can help other athletes in pressure situations. For several seasons, she's worked to improve the free throw percentage of the University of Calgary's women's basketball team. The team's coach is Shawnee Harley.
The first 3, I want you to look right where the net goes through the little ring on the front of the rim. When you look up there, I want you to say sight, focus. And then you're going to shoot. Yes, it all has to be out loud. All right?
Yep. Nothing but net. Sight, focus.
The nothing but net mantra is to settle the player down. Saying sight, focus ensures her gaze is steady on the target for at least 1 second.
Okay, good. One more.
Nothing but net. Sight, focus.
When I watched our players shoot, I was amazed at how few of them actually even looked at the rim for probably any more than 200 to 300 milliseconds. We had shooters on our team that were looking at the top of the backboard, the bottom of the net, and completely unaware that they were doing that.
This was before they studied the quiet eye technique.
Yes, before we gave them the training.
Shawnee's team was shooting 54% when we started working with them. During that first season, they improved 12% here in this experimental setting, but it didn't show up in terms of that season of play. But the next year, you were, 13th or 14th in the nation that year, and then the next year they came second.
Wow.
In the country, and they had improved by 22%, which is unheard of.
What's happening in the brain when you do the quiet eye thing?
It seems to recognize how the body wants to really work. The mind wants to get it organized, and the body wants to do it. But when you put those two things together, you're putting a tremendous amount of pressure on the whole system, and it breaks down. It especially breaks down when a person's under stress. Okay, Alan?
And speaking of a person under stress,
Sorry about that. See if I can do that again.
the idea here is that during the quiet eye moment, my brain is absorbing and organizing all the information it needs for taking the shot. Once my body starts the action itself, vision becomes irrelevant. In fact, according to Joan, trying to keep my eye on the hoop as I'm throwing is a harmful distraction.
Boy, it's very hard to give up on it. So I did take my eye off it as soon as I started to shoot.
What you're supposed to do.
Builds up trust. Actually seeing this, I believe now that I only have to look at it 2 seconds, and then I can let my body do what it does.
and it goes right in. I mean, it's amazing. It works.
Oh, sweet. Front door,
I'm
back.
living proof it works.
Excellent.
Okay, good.
He's got a competitive streak.
Have we noticed?
Well, that was really fun.
Was it? Good.
Yeah, it was really, it's amazing. I mean, you know what I love about it is, I mean, you do what all the scientists on this program do, who we interview. You find a way to look at what people haven't looked at yet and to measure it.
Yeah.
And you just
That's simple.
lift up the carpet and you show what's under. And we've been walking on the carpet all our lives. We don't know what's under it. And then you just take a peek at it, and all of a sudden we have a whole new way to work, and it's counterintuitive.
One of the things that I was thinking about when you were shooting is that you've actually changed your technique from when you began. It's a much softer shot, right? And David in the golf is saying the same thing. He's changed his mechanics of his stroke, but we don't teach that. We don't actually teach a change in technique as much as we teach a change in focus and attention.
You change the way you look and when you look, huh?
Yeah,
and that changes the way you do things.
Right, and then you reconfigure your body yourself in order to suit that.
Knowing my love of tennis, Joan indulged me by setting up a version of a study she's done on return of serve in volleyball. What she's interested in is how the eye tracks the ball as it comes across the net. What she found is that good players don't try to follow the ball all the way. Instead, they let the ball out of their sight once it gets close, and they hold their gaze steady while they hit it.
This is the ball coming through here, and you know you have to hit it there. Then you stabilize the gaze actually in front.
Right.
But the point is, you don't have your eye on the ball.
I track it over to here and leave it there and hit the ball. Well, it's nice to know I've been doing something right. Take that.
Ready?
Hey, here's the helmet.
We obviously couldn't come to Canada for a show on sports science without including hockey.
Probably feels something like the hockey helmet.
A little heavier, but...
Yeah.
Becky Keller is one of a group of young women hockey players having their gaze tracked in the stadium that housed the 1998 Winter Olympic Games. These players are Canada's best, training for the 2002 Winter Olympics. The idea here is to find out where Becky is looking when she's playing defense, what she's doing to read the situation in front of her as she and a teammate skate against two opponents. To me, everything happens so fast I can barely see the puck.
The best players are seeing things very soon, much earlier than we ever imagined, on the order of 2 seconds, 2 seconds earlier. And that's what's separating the really skilled players from the not so skilled.
A slow-motion replay of Becky's gaze shows her checking on the positions of all the players as well as the puck as the play comes toward her, and she's deciding on her move.
So now she has her, now she has to step up and move on the other one.
Watching the replay with us is the coach of the Canadian national team, Danielle Sauvageau. You know, when